My, what beautiful eyes you have. The first page is about eyes. The eye is the window to the soul. How many times have we heard it? Great acting is in the eyes. This power helps us see that we are made in God's image, more than the soulish creatures around us. It's a reason to praise and give thanks. Goats and sheep have horizontal box-like pupils, allowing them to scan the horizon well. Here we see a jumping spider with 8 eyes. They can see 360 degrees all the way around them. The eyes on front are for details. On back, eyes track only motion. That, of course, is why the jumping spider always sees you coming. Frogs have 3 eyelids to allow them to see clearly as amphibians over and underwater. Crocodiles have eyes. Crocodiles' eyes have special pigment, which acts as sunglasses. At night, the retina changes, and that gives them night vision. Can't sneak up on a crocodile either. Owls cannot move their eyes, but they turn their heads 270 degrees each way. Like eagles, they can spot small mice in flight. Mantis shrimp. It is considered to be the most amazing eyes, with 12 different color receptors compared to 3 that humans have. That multiplies the amount of colors and shades that they can see. The eyes of leaf-tailed geckos can detect 350 times more than humans in low light, and it is cleansed by a quick swipe of the tongue. Though they are colorblind and live deep in the ocean with low light, the W shape of the cuttlefish eyes give them a special ability to see polarized light others use as camouflage. Fiddler crab eyes stick up like a periscope on a submarine. So you see all the different kinds of eyes. But for people, the eye is the window to the soul. So this, remember that blue is the God stories, the blue background. Moving Works has a beautiful story on adoption, and you can look this up if you look it up online. It's called Chloe, and so I did a tribute to that. Moving Works has a beautiful story on adoption that is a reminder of how involved God can be. Walt was given a sort of vision, as a child, of a daughter that he was going to have, along with the name Chloe. Later, when he was dating Annie, he discovered, independently of him, God had already impressed on her the name Chloe. But for years after they were married, Annie couldn't conceive. Walt resisted the idea of adoption for many years, but they found themselves adopting. When they met the mother, they were amazed that she had already chosen the birth name Chloe. That's 3 people that God showed this baby's name. After that, all doubts were erased that God was in the center of this adoption. Obviously, that's inspiring for us, and we hope that he's in the center of our adoption that we're working on. This was a tribute to my spiritual birthday in 87, or what I consider that. It's a very concrete time period that I think back on. The day that I found God, the name of a John Foreman song too. 38 years later. This was written a couple days late on 7/10/2025. My testimony doesn't unfold in a single day. It was years in the making through the discipleship of my parents and the Awana program, among other things. A man named Joe Prather was my Bible drill coach. I won a scholarship through Awana to one of their summer camps in Louisiana. A boys' cabin leader named Eugene gave us a challenge to accept Christ. Of course, I had heard this message many times. I was often afraid of being shut out by Christ. But Eugene challenged us to step into the promises of Jesus, to trust that no one could take us out of his hand. I know it was different because I had a confidence free from fear after that day. And since it was a camp on the 4th of July week, there were fireworks that day. This is one hastily drawn, but it's about dolphins. In June this year, 2025, we got to see dolphins in the open sea in Bali. Even 3,000 years ago, the Psalms marveled at the way these creatures reflect God's creativity. Here's some facts about dolphins. Dolphins hunt fish and eat them head first to avoid the bones. In order to trap them, they blow bubbles to redirect them, or whack them with their tail to stun them. Dolphins have elaborate acoustic abilities. They use whistles, clicks, squawks, squeaks, moans, barks, groans, and yelps. Dolphins usually glide slowly, but they can sprint 20 to 30 miles per hour. Dolphins are smart. They can recognize themselves in a mirror and have been known to use items as tools. If dolphins are mammals that need air, how do they sleep? They use unihemispheric slow wave sleep, also known as USWS. That means that they only rest half their brain at a time, while the other half remains alert, allowing them to breathe, avoiding predators, and staying aware of their surroundings. The sleeping hemisphere closes the opposite eye, and after about 2 hours, they switch. So the other side of the brain sleeps, and the first side does those things. Dolphins are not always the saints we make them out to be. Males sometimes attack babies as competition or use baby sharks as volleyball. Dolphins usually help humans. So yes, seeing that was really neat. The boat took us out until we found the dolphins, and then we could kind of hang on the side of the boat and look down, and you can see them. They look just like this. Here's another one, majestic picture of space. The heavens declare the glory of God. We don't need to say much more than that. Here's a picture of the James Webb telescope, which captures the clearest, most accurate images, leading to new discoveries. It's a very special treasure that this new generation has, to be able to see much more clearly than we could see in the 70s and the 80s. Here's another God story, and this one is from my friend Steve Hyde, an American living in Cambodia. With our family spread out, we decided to celebrate together in Dallas, Texas. As Paul, my son, was driving from Virginia, suddenly the traffic stopped and a young driver plowed into his car, smashing front and back in a 4-car pileup. I got in my car to go meet him 7 hours away. But immediately, the Lord brought to mind a retired missionary to Cambodia who had once told me they live off exit 56B on Interstate 81. Paul sent me his location, and it was mile 35 to mile 50. So close. Woody and Lynn Thigpen were able to get him before even the police got to him. They gave him food and took him home with them. I am thankful for my son's life. I'm thankful for missionary friends who instantly react to help others, and I'm thankful for the Holy Spirit who already prepared help. After 14 hours, we are all in Texas. This was 2024, copied off my Facebook. But I really love stories like this to show how God is taking care of us. Here's one about mosquitoes. And this quote, "If you think you're too small to make a difference, you haven't spent the night with a mosquito." I think that was quoted by the Dalai Lama, but I think it's actually an older quote than that. There are more than 3,500 kinds of mosquito. They are considered the deadliest animal in the world. The Anopheles mosquito can transmit malaria, which kills more than 1 million people every year, including, probably, even Alexander the Great in 323 BC. Apollinarius wrote about them in 467 BC and Aristotle in 300 BC. The mosquito is God's little big secret. Fish and dragonflies, they are the ones that kill the most mosquitoes. Mosquitoes are usually found at 25 feet sea level, but some species have flown up to the 8,000 feet in the Himalayas. Male mosquitoes locate the females by the sound of their wings, beating 500 times per second. They hear the highest frequencies, which means the most active females mate the most. How does a mosquito see you? Each eye is a gauge to analyze heat. When they sense the exact temperature of your blood, they know it's safe to land for a little fast food. And only females consume blood as it is necessary to have the protein to lay the eggs. So that's what you look like to a mosquito. This one is actually another quickly done one. It's a tribute to a movie I liked in 2019. Seems so long ago, but it wasn't that long ago. Who has seen A Hidden Life by Terrence Malick? You know I love these movies. This movie is really a beautiful portrayal of Christian conviction. Standing up even against complacent, passive Christians at the cost of his family, farm, and ultimately his life. Franz Jagerstatter was a real person who refused to swear a routine oath to Hitler because he believed Hitler was wrong to invade a country without provocation. Watching this movie is one of those that makes you wonder, could I be this brave to stand up for whatever Christ values, even if other Christians would not? So this movie has become in some ways more special as we look and see so many things on the news of people just getting pushed into a corner or told what they have to do. So you kind of have this sense that, okay, if I were ever asked to do what he had asked to do, could I do that? Something food for thought. I hope to see that movie again sometime. Okay, this one is about rich people. Fascinated by this. I wrote this down. It says Bill Gates versus Elon Musk. And I will say that both of these guys have done a lot to help a lot of people. I'm fascinated with wealth and what the super wealthy decide to give their money to. The Bible says, "Whoever is kind to the poor lends to the Lord, and he will reward them for what they have done." Proverbs 19:17. Well, this May, Bill Gates announced plans to give away the majority of his fortune to the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation over the next 20 years, with a significant portion of these funds designated for use in Africa to advance global health, education, and prosperity. So his goal is to give away $200 billion by 2045. Neither of these men identify as Christian per se. Musk works with Christian nationalists, Make America Great Again, and Gates and ex-wife are Catholic, but they say that they are influenced by Christian morality. You can see another verse here from Ecclesiastes. Whoever loves money never has enough. Whoever loves wealth is never satisfied with their income. This, too, is meaningless. So, the Musk Foundation focuses on space exploration, science and engineering education, and furthering artificial intelligence. He has put $7 billion in stock since 2020. His participation in politics has steered a lot of government aid out of charity and into his private companies with tax breaks. Not to say that he hasn't done anything good, but as you can tell, I don't like him as much. Okay. This is another story, something God has done. Fayetteville Prayer Room. This is way back, 2015, 2016. You probably know this story, actually. I was working next door to the Fayetteville Prayer Room in 2015 and 2016, and this happened when I was there. On weekends, volunteers go and play soft music, whether anybody is there or not, and anyone in the city or from the University of Arkansas can drop in and worship as much or as little as they please. During one of these sets, a man who'd been dancing vigorously started speaking with the song player. He said to him, "The Lord enjoys these, and we came to worship with you." And then he disappeared. So the guy that told the story said that he didn't report it for quite a number of days because he was a little flabbergasted that a person would just simply disappear in front of him. But we know that angels are among us and are doing the Lord's work, and apparently one of them visited the Fayetteville Prayer Room. Okay, this one, not too long ago, just a week or so ago, and I think we sent you a video of this, Marcy and I visited a zoo last week, and the most exciting animal was, drumroll, meerkats. At this zoo, anyway. Meerkats are obviously interesting, as Disney has made a multi-season nature documentary on just them. Instead of letting their young figure out how to hunt dangerous scorpions on their own, older meerkats collect and disable the prey, so their youth can learn how to deal with the feisty food. Wild meerkats live in Africa's barren deserts. When pups are still really young, their helpers find and kill a scorpion and bring it to the pup. The helpers respond to the pup's begging calls, and as the cries sound more mature, they increase the difficulty of the lesson. Instead of a dead scorpion, teachers remove a stinger from the live scorpion and present it to their pups. Once the pups have mastered disabled prey, teachers bring an unaltered scorpion to the classroom for their students to tackle. There are not that many explicit examples of animals teaching in the animal kingdom, but there are probably more than we think. And here's the Bible verse. "Listen, my son, to your father's instruction, and do not forsake your mother's teaching." Proverbs 1:8. There's the little guy. And there's one more look at the meerkats through my golden phone. There's one last thought, the final page. The fruit of faith is love. Now, this came from a couple days ago when there was all this talk about the rapture, and I downloaded for free John Piper's book on the second coming of Christ, not because I was panicking, but because I thought it was interesting, and it was really good. But one of the things that I was captured my attention is that the fruit of faith is love. And we know the fruit of faith is a lot of things, but it all kind of leads to how loving are we. So that's why we've got all these Bible verses in the background showing a little bit more about what that means. The fruit of faith is love. Well, that's the last of this binder. And I've actually already started a new one. I did the first one. So I look forward to sharing that with you. I'll hopefully get these done faster. I've learned that by going to different coffee shops, you can get just the people that work at the coffee shops attention, and sometimes they take a picture of what I've done or am working on, and that's an interesting way to share the gospel if we're doing these very gospel-centered meditations. So that's part of why these are worth doing, but of course they're also worth doing just to worship and to reflect, and I hope that you've enjoyed it. I'll talk to you later.